Good morning, good evening, everybody. Welcome to 360 DGTMG's webinar. Today we are having a special guest. Our guest is to join in maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll be starting the session very soon. Thank you so much for the outstanding response that people have made in joining this session. Just 2 minutes, and we'll be starting our session with Mr. Raju. Good evening, friends. Mr. Raju has joined. We are going to start in just a while.
Hello.
You've logged in.
Sorry.
I'm able to hear you.
Okay.
Hello. I'm able to hear you from the webinar jam, Mr. Raju Garu.
Okay. So, దీంట్లో కాదండి. It's on my brother's mobile.
Okay.
Yeah, it has worked. It has worked. It has come.
Yeah, please can you share the screen? Yeah, extremely sorry, friends. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Raju was having some technical issues. Mr. Raju, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes.
Yes. So quickly, I'd like to introduce. We have lost a little bit of time, but once again, people are there who are eagerly waiting to hear Mr. Raju. Mr. YSR Raju is a good friend of mine, though we have known him only for about a year now. We were batchmates at Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow, but he's an amazing storyteller. Let me just tell you about him. And he's worked in various capacities in multiple companies. He will probably tell you about it. But he quit everything and started an entrepreneurship venture primarily for the reason for developing the entire economic index for his community, for the people around his village and his region. And that is really commendable. So rather than doing simply social service, he's actually an entrepreneur whose primary objective is for total upliftment of his region. So I'll now request Mr. Raju to please start the session. Mr. Raju, you can start by sharing your screen and then probably we can proceed, Mr. Raju. Mr. Raju?
Yes, I'm there. I'm just sharing my screen.
Probably minimize this. Yeah, perfect. To proceed, Mr. Raju, I'd like to conduct a quick survey. You can just wait for a moment. I'll just conduct a quick poll. Let me add a question. So may I request the participants to please respond to this? Okay, perfect. So I think we are good to go. For the people who aren't able to do it, I'll send you a message on a private chat. Maybe you can take over. Mr. Raju, you may please proceed. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Nitin, and good evening, everybody. I hope I am audible. Uh, this session is going to be on Indian economy challenges and opportunities. Ms. Nitin has had kind words about me in the introduction, but nevertheless, we have lost some time, so I would like to rush. Uh, this presentation is to my master who taught me that life is more than earning, who showed me with his example, with his love. To him, I dedicate these set of slides and this effort. I pray that his presence takes over. Now, why do we need economics? Why at all do we need economics? Do we need economics at all? This land has thousands of years of history. Over its years and eons, the land has developed various philosophies. It has understood how mind works. It has understood the reasons and the needs for life. It came up with this beautiful concept which said that there are primarily four reasons as to why a human life is worth living. The four Purusharthas. It said, Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. While the society allows you to be dharmic and your profession allows you, Kama is not lust, it is desire. While your society allows you to be dharmic, while your family allows you to be filled with desire, and your religion and your beliefs allow you to be moksha, that is fulfillment, self-fulfillment. It is economics that allows you to earn artha, wealth, in a way that's sustainable, in a way that allows everyone else to be prosperous. Now, this is from the aeons of our history. Let me just refer to John Maynard Keynes on the right. You are seeing his picture. He is considered to be the father of modern economics to an extent. John Maynard Keynes said, the purpose of economics is to make happy and prosperous living. And to ensure that this objective is achieved, you need economics. And hence you need economics. I hope I have justified the reason for my profession and also for this discipline. Let me just go to the next slide. This India that we know of is a country by political borders, but it is actually many nations clubbed into one country. Look at on the left, you see this chart. You have many states clubbed together, which are almost equal to countries across the world. So Madhya Pradesh has a population of 83 million, which is equal to Germany. Rajasthan has 68 million, equal to UK. Delhi, a small city in India, equal to Sri Lanka with 20 million. Uttar Pradesh with 230 million is equal to Pakistan. You have Telangana with 35 million, equal to Saudi Arabia. Andhra Pradesh equaling South Korea. And Tamil Nadu equaling Iran. Kerala equaling Uzbekistan. Maharashtra equaling Japan. And Gujarat equaling Thailand. This is the massive country that we are talking about. And what do we mean When we say India needs something, India wants something, let's look at three states for example. Let's take states of Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, and UP. The average age in Tamil Nadu is 29 years. The average age in Maharashtra is 26. Well, the average age in UP is 20, just 20. And Tamil Nadu grows paddy as the major crop. Maharashtra grows jowar. UP grows wheat. The share of agriculture in Tamil Nadu is just 6%, while it is 20% in UP. And what does Tamil Nadu speak? It speaks Tamil, Maharashtra speaks Marathi, and UP speaks Hindi. What is the political party that's governing Tamil Nadu? AIADMK. Maharashtra is governed by Shiv Sena. UP is governed by BJP. What is the favorite two-wheeler of Tamil Nadu? If you go to any town in two-wheeler of Tamil Nadu, you will see mopeds, the TVS XL mopeds. And in Maharashtra, you see scooters, and on UP you see motorcycles. And the favorite car of these states, one state has Hyundai as its favorite, Maharashtra has Maruti, and UP has Mahindra. And who is the favorite actor of these states? It's Rajinikanth in Tamil Nadu, it's Amitabh Bachchan in Maharashtra. UP depends on the movie that comes out. And what's the per capita income? Tamil Nadu is 74,000 and odd rupees. Maharashtra is 80,000 and odd. UP is 23,000 and odd. Look at this diversity. Look at how spread is this country with its options, tastes, preferences. This is the country that we're talking about. Now, how is this country structured? How are the households of this country structured? So if you divide the entire population of India into four classes: deprived, aspirers, middle, and rich. Deprived are those households who have lesser than 2.25 lakhs of income per annum. That's less than 20,000. Aspirers are around 2.25 to 5 lakhs per annum. Middle class has 5 lakh to 25 lakhs, and rich is more than 25 lakhs. Now, how do these households structure actually? 3% of entire households are rich, and they have a 7% disposable income. And out of 100 rupees that are spent in India, 5% is spent by this group. While middle class is 21% of the entire households in India, middle class, the disposable income is 33%. That's out of 100 rupees. This class contributes 33% of the disposable income. And out of 100 rupees of consumption expenditure, this class contributes 29%. Aspirers, the 33% of entire households, they contribute to 33% of disposable income, and consumption expenditure is 34%. And deprived are 43% of entire Indian households are deprived, and 27% of their income, they form 27% share of the entire disposable income in the country, and the consumption expenditure forms 32% of the 100 rupees that are spent as consumption expenditure in India. So middle income, when you talk of middle class, I'm a middle class Indian, you're actually sitting in that 21% of household bracket. But what is the average reflection of Indian households? It is the aspirers. 33% of all the households are aspirers. And out of 100 rupees that are earned as income, 33% goes to this household. Out of 100 rupees that are spent as expenditure, 34% of it goes to these households. And this is how broadly the Indian households are structured on income basis. Now, if you look at what do these households own and where do they spend? So deprived households spend 52% of their income on food and beverages, while middle class and rich spend just 34% of their income on food and beverages. But you look at well-being, 13% of 100 rupees earned by deprived goes on well-being. but the rich spend 25% of their income on well-being. While you look at fun and environment, all the three classes of households seem to spend almost more or less the same. And look at consumer services. Aspirers spend much higher than the rich, than the deprived, and more or less close to rich. You look at the house assets owned. The deprived, in the right hand box, you see the first box there, the deprived don't own much of cars, no, not much oven, no AC, no washing machine. What they own, 80% of them own a TV, 40% of them own a motorcycle, 20% of them own a mobile phone. While aspirers, 100% of them own a TV, around 65% of them own a two-wheeler, around 60% of them own a mobile, and around 25% to 30% of them own a washing machine, around 20% of them own a car, and nearly 8 to 9% of them own a AC, and nearly 5% of them own a micro oven. But you look at this middle class or the rich, it's more reflecting the rich. 100% of the rich own a TV, 90% of them own a two-wheeler, and 90% of them own a refrigerator. Around 60% of them own a washing machine, and the car is owned by almost 55% of them. Around 40% of them own a air condition, and around 20% of them own a micro oven. Now, what is the India that we're talking about? When you refer India is earning so much, what exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about the middle class, which owns where 20% of them own a micro oven, or are you referring to the poor class who own 2% of them just own a micro oven? Now, how is this India going to be next 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years? Let's say 2030. Right, 2005, India had that V shape, the beautiful V shape, which most of the gym goers aspire to. And in 2030, it will look something like me, gola round. Why? Because deprived formed 69%, they formed 69% in 2005, and it became 43%. And by 2030, it is expected to be 15%. Aspirers, from 23%, that's at 51 million, they are likely to be 132 million aspirers are likely to be in India by 2030. And middle class from 16 million, it is going up to 168 million. Rich from 1 million, it's going up to 29 million. Which means, in 2018, you see there, which means in next 10 years, the market for aspirers, the market of middle class and the rich is going to explode, while the deprived is likely to contract. So by 2030, India will add almost 100 million middle class and 20 million rich households. And each of us can think, what are the implications that this would have on Indian economy? It will be massive. We will see massive changes, which you're already seeing. For example, it took almost 5 years for the first two-wheeler of Honda, the Activa, to be sold, more than 1 lakh. Then the next lakh was sold in 2 years, and now per month Honda sells nearly 2 lakh of Activas, which is almost equal to the entire production of Yamaha and Suzuki and Mahindra put together. The one scooter of Honda is almost equal to the entire production of Bajaj. And why is this happening? Because we are seeing slowly, steadily, the deprived are slipping into aspirers. aspirers are growing into middle class and middle class are migrating into rich. And where is this income going to come from? In 2005, metros contributed 16% of the income. And metros would more or less remain same. In 18, in FY18 they were around 17%, and by 30 they will continue to be at 18%. Where are we going to see the boom? Look at developed rural. From 14% in 2005, the developed rural is likely to be around 21%, while the rest of the rural from 42% is likely to contract to 32%, which means India is going to get little more urbanized. And look at the rest of urban, more or less it's going to stay similar. So what does it tell? Rural is slowly and steadily, it is getting converted into an urban market. And where is the expenditure going to come from? It's the same pattern. In 2005, out of 10 rupees out of 100 rupees that are spent in India, 13 rupees came from developed rural. But in 2030, out of 100 rupees, 20 rupees are going to come from developed rural. While the 45 came in 2005, it's going to be 35 rupees in 2030. This is how India is going to transition. This is how India is going to develop. And apart from that, this is how diverse is this country. Now, to such a diverse country, what policies can be made? Because economics moves hand in hand with policy making. What policies can be thought of? So, on your right, you see Mao Zedong. In 1950s, when he started the Cultural Revolution in China, he was considered to be a man of miracles. They thought that he can do anything. He's a practical man. They thought he can actually conquer the world. So they thought he knew a lot more than anyone else. And there was a famine in China. So he said, from my experience, I know that the sparrows eat lot of grains. So there is a bit of shortage of rice in China. He said, I order as the chairman of this party, shoot any sparrow that you see. And Chinese went maverick. They started shooting, killing every sparrow that they see. Fantastic. Newspapers have written columns and columns, speeches that are hours and hours were given about Mao's practical knowledge. 4 months have passed, and suddenly the rice production, instead of doubling, it halved. It became half. Nobody knew why. And Mao sent his people to understand what is happening. Why did they have killed all the sparrows that are supposed to be stealing grains? So he sent his men to find out from the fields what exactly is happening. To their horror, they found out that the paddy is now eaten away by insects, even before it is growing. That is when they realized sparrows were also playing their part in the ecosystem. A well-intentioned policy of saving the grains killed the crop. This is the bane of policy making. But we see a lot of policies right now. Now, these policies we can structure more or less on 4 axles. One is enabling households, second is encouraging compliance, third is enabling corporates, fourth is future ready society. And enabling households, all of us have heard from 2014, the Swachh Bharat, where 100% of the households are given toilets. And we have heard of the banking facilities that are being extended to every nook and corner of this country. And 100% of now villages by 2018 were electrified. They have electricity. And slowly from then on, it moved to eliminating execution, barriers of execution through the Aadhaar enabled digital identities, direct benefit transfer, Aadhaar PAN link. No, we know of all, we have heard of all these reforms. Then comes encouraging compliance where trust and accountability of corporates is kind of one, it is kind of prodded. So corporate tax has been reduced from 30%, effectively 39% to 25%. The IT system is going to be a faceless man. We have read about it in news. No more the man will harass you, or probably the machine might. But as of now, they say machine also will not harass us. Let's wait and see. Then government has brought bankruptcy code, which has turned around the bankruptcy stories in India. Then apart from this, we know the capacity building that's happening in the society through infrastructure, privatization of airports. Recently, we have read about how Kerala airport is privatized, how Mumbai airport is run by Adanis. We are also now hearing about privatization of railways. And for last 1 year, privatization of Air India is on cards. Nobody seems to bite, nevertheless. And we have also privatized coal. And then we have also the government has brought in beautiful new education policy, which is going to enable a lot of learning capabilities, learning skill set of Indians. And this is going to make the future ready society, is the belief. But let me give you one example of the policy that all of us tout to be the greatest policy that has ever come in independent India after 1991 reforms. So that's probably the best policy that is meant for turning around India. And that is called GST, Goods and Services Tax. But some of the economists have also called it ground scorching tax. Why? GST was introduced. You see here, this is the growth of industrial production of labor intensive and non-labor intensive sectors. GST was introduced somewhere in June, July of 2017, and post that you see the miracle that it has spun. Labor intensive sector has fallen. It has just contracted, kept contracting, kept stagnating, while the non-labor intensive, the machine driven companies started going up and up. Why? Is this another sparrow policy? I'm nobody to comment, but data is here for us to see. Why is this happening? Because in India, there are 67 million enterprises in India. Out of those 67 million enterprises, 12 million enterprises operate from home. And another 12 million enterprises have registered themselves for GST, for paying GST. And in that 1 million pay security. And in that 1 million, just 19,500 companies have a paid up capital of more than 10 crores. So when you introduce GST, what happens? The 67 million is amassed with labor. The below 12 million who are working from home, they don't have access to formal credit because you don't have a bank statement, you don't have an annual return statement, you don't have your business address, you don't have your TAN, PAN. So no bank will give you credit. And other 12 million who have unfortunately registered for GST or who are proactive and registered for GST, they have just a 0.5 to 1 month of working capital to the sales ratio. And GST, you pay every month the tax. And the 1 million have no access to capital who are paying the social security. And just the 19,500 have access to entire credit that's taken in India. Out of that, 73% is taken by these 19,500 corporates. 85% of the R&D expenditure is by 19,500 corporates. 95% of capital that is invested in India is by these 19,500. And they have a ratio of 2 to 3 month working capital to sales ratio. So when you introduce GST, what is happening is these 19,500 are much better placed to rev up their systems. They have their IT systems. They have access to good manpower. They have access to required skill set. They have access to credit. They have access to knowledge. So they have built systems within no time. And the rest of those small MSME companies have been struggling. Imagine a cane manufacturing entity which has 12 people. All of them speak their local language. You go to any of the places around Hyderabad, you would find many of them. They don't know a word of English. And someone comes up and says, hey, you are not paying GST. Right? I don't even know English. How do I pay? Says, no, you get a CA and then you make a payment. Then you approach a CA. Then the CA starts all the accounting measures. And it takes some time. CA is also human, so it takes some time. Now, there is a rule which says that if you're not registered for GST, you cannot trade. So don't buy from someone who is not registered for GST. So now my cane manufacturing products were actually bought by big companies where their intended use was something else. Now once this mandate sets in, I can't sell my products. Even if I sell, I have to I get to an agreement saying that, okay, I will sell these products at a cost price, at a price which includes the cost that you have to pay for GST. So effectively, which means that I'm actually earning much lesser than what I was earlier earning. Was GST a bad intention policy? Absolutely no. It will do a lot of good, but maybe it will take time, 10 years, 15 years. But right now, at least now, it is hitting economy in an unintentional manner. And this does not end there. India will be one of the youngest nations by 2030, at least in the large economies. Nigeria is going to be the youngest in the world, but at least in the large developed economies, India is going to be the youngest. Right now, our average, the median age is 28. And this is going to be 31 by 2030. Well, USA, the median age is going to be 40, and in China, it's going to be 42. Now, 27% will be anywhere between 25 to 25 and below. So from 25 to 40, 45 will be 18% in 2008, it's right now. And 37% between this. Now the millennials that is born between 1981 to 2005, they're going to contribute to 37% in 2030. Now why am I mentioning this? So many youngsters, millennials who have educated themselves, who have gone to their schools, attended colleges, they are going to enter the workforce. And right now, look at the skewed manner of the workforce in India. Maharashtra contributes 14.2% of India GDP, Gujarat 7.9%, Tamil Nadu 8.3%, Kerala 7%. Now I want you to come to the other column here in migration. I want you to specifically take a look at the states of UP and Bihar and Jharkhand. UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, they contribute to 50% of the migrant population in India. Out of 2 people that have migrated from their state to somewhere else, one of them happens to be from one of these states. Now you have this queue where 5 states are actually contributing to 40% of GDP and 4 states are contributing to 50% of labor. So what happens? And where is the explosion of population going to be? Explosion of population is going to be in these 4 or 5 states which are already highly populated. And which are the states who are going to absorb them? The states who are actually doing quite well in their GDP. Now there's going to be a lot of internal migration that's going to happen. And it would have its own set of challenges. Now recently Karnataka has come up with a policy saying that all the migrants in Bangalore who are not from Karnataka have to get used to speaking Kannada. They have to pass a test for getting a job in Bangalore. So imagine if each state is going to behave similar manner. Imagine you have now a new education policy which mandates that up to 5th class you have to teach in native language. Now you have 50% of the population migrating from one part of the country to other part of the country. So imagine a scenario in a school in Tamil Nadu where a migrant's child, Hindi speaking child, is sitting there. Now what is the native language of Tamil Nadu? It is Tamil. Now what is the native language of this migrant kid? Hindi. Now what is the teacher going to teach? Is it Hindi or is it Tamil? Or is it English? How are we going to solve this issue? This kind of problems galore in Indian economy. But yet India continues to grow and grow. We've heard of the recent stories of how we have had when the lockdown was on and all of us were restricted to our homes. All that we could do was to watch news after news, and we were thrown up in our faces with those moving stories of migrants. They said, oh my God, people are walking on streets and they are dying. The government is heartless. And we know how reams of paper were actually written about what suffering these migrants are going through. Then there was a survey that is done, and shocking results came out. What are the shocking results? India has a total 60 million migrants in India. Out of them, 40 million are dependents. And in that, 30 million are working. And how many have migrated? It is only 3 to 4 million, which means only 10% of the working migrant population has actually walked back, while 90% has remained where they are. Why did they walk back? Because companies like auto, where the ideal capacity has gone up to 60%, durable 70%, chemicals 80%, FMCG is almost like zero. So they were fully working, so they had no effect. But the idle capacities ended up unemploying people, and these people were scared for various reasons, and they started walking. But how was the narrative economics weaved a story, a different story, which is far from truth? And another challenge that our Indian system faces is the dwindling of investments. In 2010-11, investments contribute around 40% of GDP, but steadily they came down to 32% of GDP by 2019-20. Why is this happening? They said in 2010, they said, we know the reason why it's happening. It's because the land acquisition seems to be a big problem. So land reforms are brought in. So 52% of 2010, if you look at the right side box, you will see 52% of all the projects that stalled in India had a problem with land, while 21% had a problem with the promoter interest. Now land reforms, whatever they could do, little they did, and were brought in. And come 2015, suddenly this 52% became 20%, but something else came up. What is that something else? Raw material supply issue. And why is that? Because you have a lot of dependency on various countries, like especially China, and you are at their women fancy. Then you have, apart from this, you also have courts acting as semi-governments, passing judgments. So you have the green tribunals, where they said companies cannot be set up. For example, take a company like POSCO, which was slated to turn around the economy of Orissa, but they said it's going to be a massive loss for environment. They said you can't. So POSCO had to literally fought for 5 years, and they withdrew finally. Lack of environment clearance became another issue. It's a major issue, because of which in 2015, 10% of the product got stalled. Earlier in 2010, it was just 5%, and now it is 15%. And lack of funds. 2010 it was 4.6 and now it is 17%. But this is quite surprising because you will see some other set of data which is contradicting this. And land acquisition has more or less come into control. And now this new thing which you have not expected is called the natural calamity, which you have termed it as COVID. That has stalled around 0.2%. So it's like it's like those, you go to a gaming center and you have those small soldiers popping up from one hole up, and you have to hit each soldier that is popping up from one of the holes. And after you hit one, then somewhere else one pops up. Then you hit other one, then somewhere else pops up. That is a similar kind of, don't you see a similar kind of pattern here? You see kids playing and hitting those pop-ups. So one time it is land, other time it is issue with funds, and some other time it is issue with promoter interest, and some other time issue with environment. And why? Because this is a massive country, I told you before. Now, the story is not so gloomy as it appears. It's actually changing. In 1986, this man called Rajiv Gandhi, then the Prime Minister, he was holding a conference and he made the famous remark. He said, if I give 1 rupee, by the time it reaches the poor man, if I give 1 rupee to a poor man, by the time it reaches the poor man, intended poor man, only 10 paise reaches him, while the rest 90 paise gets sucked as corruption and bribe in between the system. This was in 1986. And in 2020, we know that government wanted to do money transfer to all the farmers, to all the migrant laborers. So it was slated to be anywhere between 14,000 crores to 15,000 crores. And with a click of a button, 15,000 crores have gone and sat in the exact bank accounts to the exact people. This is the new India, the changing India. So this man, this visionary man, how did this all begin? In 2014, he said, we have Aadhaar cards, we have phone numbers, we have bank accounts. Why don't we join all these three? So 2015, he called this as JAM, Jan Dhan Yojana. So where Aadhaar cards were linked to the bank accounts, were linked to the phone numbers. And then miracles happened. What miracles? We may not see it right now very clearly, but if you have eyes, all of us will spot them. In the next 4 years, 2,174 fintech companies just came up from nowhere. This 2,174 startup companies is next only to USA. They have overtaken even China. And within 4 years, that is from 2016 to 2019, or even first half of 2020, between 2016 to 2019, almost 8.5 billion US dollars have flown into these startups. And when entire world was struggling with COVID, even during this tough time, $1.5 billion have come into these new startups. And where are these startups are actually located? 447 of them are in Bangalore, 437 in Mumbai, 133 in Hyderabad, and Delhi has 208. You can see the distribution there. And this has sparked a new revolution in India. In 1981-82, this set of 5 friends wanted to set up a company. They said, come, let's approach government for some help. So it took almost a year for them to get some help, and they were given some outskirts place in Bangalore. Then they started a company, and they took almost 9 to 10 months to import 2 GB computer 5 friends, they struggled and struggled and struggled, and then came up this company called Infosys. That was one company then. Now Infosys has, of course, has changed the landscape of electronic city outskirts of Bangalore. But look at on the other side, look at the new India. In last 4 years, last 5 years, from 1981, if you have to talk about one great startup to 1991 or in fact 2001, it's only Infosys. But within the last 4 to 5 years, 5,000 startups have come up. The Bansals of Flipkart, Baiju Ravindran, Oyo Ritesh, Ola Bhavish Agarwal, Deependran Pankaj of Zomato. You see all of them here. And within months, what earlier took nearly 20 years to build a 1 billion value company, today within months, within 2-3 years, these magicians have created such massive companies. And how? It's because the structure of the economy has undergone a tremendous change. Lot of enablers came in. Government has become more open. Societies have become more open. Thinking has changed. And this is the new India that we are talking about. Now, this is in the left, you see, is a picture of Reuters throwing stones at police station in 2013. It's in Muzaffarnagar riots. And many faces are clearly seen, but nothing happened. The case is still going on. And 6 months back, in the same state, in the same town, one more riot came up for anti-CAA. They said the CAA is against one particular community, and the riots happened. And then, because of the magic that is created by these startups, what did government say? 2013, the same state government is still fighting the cases. Now 2020, beginning of 2020, when these riots happened, government simply issued statement saying that all those who have participated in the riots will be approached and fines will be levied upon them for destroying public property. And government was asked how. They said we have their videos, and all of them have their photos in their driver license, and the driver license are linked to Aadhaar. Aadhaar, we have their address. Driving license, we have their photos, and videos, we have their presence. So it's a new jam, and all of them, 131 main rioters were found out, and they were charged 50 lakhs. The case is still going on now. 2013, nothing could be done. 2020, miracles are beginning to happen in governance. And this is the famous truck which was caught in Orissa 11 years back. The beauty of this is, same truck appear to have different registration numbers. That's okay. But another issue that they have found out is 20 trucks of similar nature had the same registration number, and nobody knew. They were running happily in the mines. Nobody could make out. This was just 9 to 10 years back. And in March, this year March, I was speeding on one of the highways. I crossed the speed limit unintentionally. Within 10 minutes of my crossing that speed limit, I get a message on my mobile saying, "Dear Ranganath Raju, at this particular point, you have crossed speed limit. You have gone beyond this, and you have to pay this fine by this date. And for further proof, you can also check the photo." And within half an hour, my mailbox has a photo of my car speeding with the speed limit. I was shocked because I come from automobile industry. The cars are tracked. How? With those cameras. The cameras catch the phone, the registration number, and in an instant, once you notice that someone is speeding up, in an instant the car number is uploaded into the Sardi website or into the Sardi system and Vahan system. Vahan system immediately traces back to the RTO. RTO records immediately trace back to the particular registered user, and from Aadhaar his phone number is picked, and within minutes the miscreant is sent a message. This is the same country in 2010 which had multiple trucks. Now the same country that we're talking about, within seconds the miscreant is brought to justice. This is a new India that we're talking about. And this government, this society also seems to have a knack of giving, the art of giving. We have heard of art of living, but let's talk about art of giving. On the right, you see this person called Azim Premji, and he was touted as a great philanthropist because he gave 13 billion of his wealth. Now someone asked, fine, he gave 13 billion, but what is his actual income? It's 19 billion. Oh, so he earns 19 billion, out of that he gave 13 billion. Fantastic. On the right side, you see the DGP of Andhra Pradesh saluting a woman. This woman, during Corona lockdown in Machilipatnam, she bought two huge, you can see that video even in YouTube, two huge cool drink bottles and gave them to the police who are 24/7 guarding the streets. And then the police asked her, Amma, why are you giving us? She said, no, you are protecting us, so I want to do my bit to serve you. They asked her, Amma, what is your income? She said, I earn 120 rupees per day. And those two bottles costed 220 rupees. That is when the DGP was so touched that he brought her up to his office and saluted. Now, who is actually giving? Whose sacrifice is greater? Is it the man who makes 13 billion but earns 19 billion, or is it this woman who earns 120 rupees and gives 220 rupees bottles? I'm not passing a moral judgment here, but what I'm trying to bring to a notice is there are constraints even in giving. People might have intentions, but there are constraints. That's where I'm coming to. This is a government where we said, which has announced 20% of GDP as a Corona package. But when the economists have calculated actual money flow, you see those top 20 countries in the world who have spent on Corona. Do you see India there anywhere? You won't see. You won't find it. Why? Because the actual spending that happened as part of the packages is 1% of GDP. It's the same. It's the same case. USA has spent 12% of the GDP as Corona package. Why? Because USA can print as much as they want because it's a reserve currency. But India can't. Investments, I just told you, investments are kind of taking a hit. Government revenues are taking a hit. And you have your constraints. So you can't spend much. So all that you could do was to give a credit guarantee, and 1%, whatever you could manage, you could spend. And on the other side, you come up the society, then government find ways and means to reduce their expenditure. What do you say? You stretch out to your hand to society and say, you also give up, you also make a contribution. Very strategically, beautifully, you tell them, give up your subsidies. Because one way of saying it is, I don't have money. Other way of saying it is, you're doing good to the society. Now, these contradictions exist in economy. This is the landscape of economics. This is not of moral science. But yet, with those landscape, yet with those contradictions, yet with those challenges, this country has been winning and it will win. And finally, on the topmost corner, you see in 1894, a short built person, was entering a hotel called Watson. He was not allowed. I said, it's only for men, it's only for white men, you can't come in. So he was so insulted that he came out and said, let me build 10 times grander than this. Then in 1905 came up the beautiful crest of, it's called the crest jewel of Arabian Sea, the Taj of Bombay. And in 1911, this is 90s, 1910, in the next decade, an old teacher was beaten up for taking out a procession. He was beaten up so badly that he was about to die. And before his death, he gave a clarion call to all the Indians, telling them, let's show what we can do in the name of God. Let my death not go in vain. And he called out for all the people to join in a celebration to celebrate the leaving of body. And thus was born, within no time, was born one of the most colorful celebrations of the world, Ganesh Chaturthi. And in the next decade, next 2 decades, newspapers kept writing about a fakir, half-clad man who has no, apparently no wealth, English educated, a weak mind, a weak heart, and they called him, in fact one of the queens calls him as the fakir, half-clad fakir. What can he do? Somehow his voice connected to thousands of hearts in India, and masses rose up, and we won. 1947, this is the same country which insulted India, gave us independence, and we know the story. And even when the flag was hoisted, you see in the next picture, you see Lord Mountbatten. He was wishing the then Prime Minister of Jawaharlal Nehru and his deputy Sardar Patel in 1950, saying he was wishing them as he was leaving from his post, going back to UK. He told them, "Let me see how long will you be as one country. What we gave you is not one country, but many kingdoms. Let me see how long will you stay united." And today, United Kingdom is fighting to be united, but we continue to be the best and the most effective working democracy in the world. We won even in that decade. In the 1960s, we have our Prime Minister who went to US begging for rice. Her appointment was cancelled, and Nixon called her the beggarly Indians. She came back, she cried, and then she created this green revolution with her scientists. And today, India is the largest producer of paddy. In 1962, Chinese attacked us. We were faced almost with an inevitable defeat. It was a battle of Chinese have run over almost everywhere. Then began this Rezangla battle, in which 120 Indians fought tooth and nail, killing 1,400 Chinese men. And seeing the grit and valor, Chinese suddenly declared ceasefire. We won again. 1970s, when an Indian scientist was making a presentation in one of the US conferences, they loved him and said, "This is a land where cows are worshipped and snakes are worshipped. What are you talking about?" And within 4 years, that was 1971, 1975, we came up with this beautiful first satellite called Aryabhatta, and we launched. And in 1980s again, then we created Infosys. India won again. 1990s, we know the massive economic policies that were brought in. From a Hindu rate growth of 2%, India started registering 9 to 10% growth. This country won again. In 2000s, China started dominating every sphere of the world, but yet in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Ethiopia, they were struggling. Why were they struggling? They were struggling to beat the two-wheelers that are manufactured by India. Nigeria, Indian two-wheeler market share is 90%. Ghana, 94%. Ethiopia, 86%. Indian two-wheelers are ruling the world. We won again. And in 2000s, a never before feat was done by our ISRO, launching 113 satellites at a single time in the sky, being us proud again. And I hope you remember the Sparrow policy. Yeah. Now, probably one more time it has come. The time has come again for the elephant. This time the elephant is being taunted. Now, probably that elephant will teach a very strong lesson to the current leadership of China. With this, I bring my presentation to a close. I hope it was of some use, and I thank you all for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Raju. As always, you have enthralled us with your speech. I have had previous opportunities to listen to him. I'm sure people who have listened to him today are carrying back, memories, and another great person has, had a chance to speak, and that's something that you should look out. So I request all of you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is already YouTube live. Friends who have missed out, your friends who have missed out, you can watch it on our YouTube channel. It will be available. It will be available there, and we will be having more such insights. We generally have a Q&A session. If there's anything that somebody needs to ask, you can do that. So I'll just end with before that. I'll just like to, given that a lot of negativity is there currently that we are seeing, given the COVID, given the the economy is going down, and it has been blasted in the newspapers stating that we are so low and the growth has become negative and all those things. In spite of that, we should look at our history, and we should look at how from even worse situations this country has always risen. Raju Garu has only gone up to in 1800. Probably we can even go back. We can probably talk in times of the Mughal invasion and things like that. Even from there onwards, there are so many instances where we've always risen. So we do have that tenacity to come back. So that should be what we should look for forward and moving that. And if there are any questions, I think Mr. Raju would be more than happy to address. So another quick note while you may think up of your questions. So 360 Digi TMG is predominantly a technical, pure technical, kind of a training institute where we deal all the technical stuff. But things are fluid now. Things are actually changing. Borders are getting removed, and wholesome 360-degree learning is required. To be able to learn something about data science, one must know a lot about finance, about economics, about the country, about the nation in general. So that is where you should probably, that is the reason why we are trying to do this. This is the first in its series, and we'll be having more such things. Is there a channel or a blog of Mr. Raju? Mr. Raju, would you like to comment on that? Are you a blogger, or are you having a channel that you would like to share?
Yeah, it's coming up in a few months.
We will be the first person to let you know, friends, if Raju is a very good friend of mine. So we'll be the first person to let you know. And yeah, Jai Hind, absolutely right. We'll be the first person to let you know once that is live and when that blog comes up. What is your message to young entrepreneurs? Is a message that one friend has sent privately, Raju Garu. So what is that would you like to probably say in a few words?
To the young entrepreneurs?
Obviously, this is an Indian context.
Yes, I know. So I have this one personal learning from my master. When Adam Smith wrote The Wealth of Nations, the first paragraph of the book begins with, The butcher butchers the sheep, or the baker bakes the biscuit, not for the glorification of anything, but for sheer greed. With all humility and love, I would like to make a small submission. Economics is not about enhancing greed. Setting up companies is not about enhancing this greed. It is about love. If we can replace this greed with love to serve to serve your fellow being, with love to serve a cause, with love to serve a need, it will take us to heights. It will take us to greater pinnacles that human mind has ever seen. Look at all the corporates who have sustained over years, not those corporates which take a blip and stay for 10 years and just disappear as if they never existed. No. Look at all those corporates who have built over 30 years, 40 years. Look at all those companies. There's a book called Good to Great. If you get time, please read it. Any company that has risen to heights and sustained that height is because it is moral, it is ethical, and importantly, it exists to serve and not to make money. This is what I have in mind.
Thank you very much, Raju. That was very well and nicely put. So people are chasing you for a YouTube channel. They want to follow you. So Raju, I think we may have to call you once again, probably for something specific within whatever you've discussed, for maybe a more specific audience. So I'm sure audience, I can assure you, Raju Garu will definitely oblige given the time. You just create the need, the demand. So I request all of you to please, send out your queries, send out what is it that you would like to learn. In the sphere of economics, Indian economics, I think I can say that Raju is one among the authorities of our the economy, because he's such a well-read person. So please do let us know. We'll definitely plan out something more. And this was an experimental basis to engage our participants on something other than purely technical, and I think it's been a resounding success. Once again, YSR Raju. So YSR Raju, as our simply YSRR as we call him. Thank you so much for the time and efforts and the presentation that you have put in. And I'm sure all of us are carrying something very important at the end of this. Thank you, audience, once again. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.